one of these days I am going to stop being a good man and start studying bad manners. I am ready. For a very long time I have been watching thieves prosper. And I'm becoming uncomfortable. Surprisingly, these people we consider thieves are the ones who live longest. Asidi buba akazo kufa naye kati bafa. Sometimes you go for burial, you reach there and you begin asking yourself, why didn't the other one die in this one's place? Even if you come back in government here, the people who are useless to us, the people whose presence in the government is as good as their absence, are the ones who keep those places longest. People with the independent minds are chased in just a few years. The ones who trouble the communities, who trouble the citizens, the ones who are causing havoc, seem to be eating from the tree of life. And this is the reality. When a good man coughs, the village gets worried. But the moment a bad man coughs, he recovers quickly. And now they are funding Nankanyono, the one who has always on any BSTV. Go Mwarangiranti, sawa yona. I'm just saying, there is a way bad people succeed in ways we do not understand. The ones who wish, I mean the people we wish that could have died, they are the ones now buying the strongest mattresses. A man who was really good, a man who was important to the community, who was supporting families, had died. Nayengo mulogo yewali. So sometimes the stubborn tree lives the longest just to block the sun. Era tibalaba wanoka mubalagira ati bafunde nayenga wa tebafa. It looks like the ancestors are not hearing. So the truth is, the day you people discover that the secret to success is being a bad person, we shall lose most of you to the other side. I'm telling you, the crooked path reaches the market faster. So, straight. It is time to begin looking for shortcuts. And you don't blame me. I'm just saying that the child who sees the lazy goat grow fat question is hard work, and that is the situation I'm in. We are talking about the time that we are in as Ugandan, is where a tortoise sees the hyena eating well and begins to practice a wicked smile. Oh, maybe we say that the goat that watches the thief grow rich and begins to practice how to jump fences. Today's class is focusing on the fact that when you sharpen a spear for others, test it gently. It may know your ribs. And that is the biggest lesson that we have picked from the Iran conflict. As in, just like most dictators, the man had traffic cameras installed almost everywhere, not necessarily for purposes of monitoring traffic or crime like they always hide under, but for monitoring the opposition, just in case protests arise. But information has come out that for years the Israelites had hacked those traffic cameras and were monitoring the movements of Ayatollah using those traffic cameras. Etikati uda afulumye lera alina kasuku naye kuluna afulumye alina fulu figa oyo si wa mugaso kwa kati uya afulumye alina mutabani aotorosa. So the man who dug the well to spy on the village forgot that he also lives next to the well. What we have learned that in this generation, even with cameras, you're not safe. Because when you buy binoculars to watch your enemies, you have to also know that the binoculars also has your address. Got dictators across Africa are actually scared. Whereas when the chief hears that the ladder can climb both ways, he suddenly hates tall houses. Kadisa wazira bagamba waliwo kamera tebuyitawo wano waliwo kamera tebuyisaawo president. So from nowhere we shall find when they have wiped off cameras from the roads that the president uses more often. But if not, tujja musanga naye ali mu kuyita mu bufunda eyo gye tuyita. At the man who trusted the cameras now will begin preferring potholes of funda obutaliyo camera. Oh, if not, he will become an activist. Agambe kati kamera tetukyazetaga. Tujja kwesanga bazijjako dada because they are just skeletons on the road. And the hunter who now fears his old trap suddenly becomes an animal rights activist. Aba babiri bemulaba they were once very strong members or let's say pillars of the FDC. But now we can confirm that the road to State House sometimes passes through opposition headquarters. The tags that used to shout reform are now speaking order. Atakati mwatuka mwevya vivo yevalimo. Nobody asks how you reached there. A ladder is rarely blamed when one reaches the roof. No wonder Kadaga was saying, these people who have just come, how can we trust them with such mega positions? So Manyimu Lutalo lwa Israel and America against Iran. There is one general who has been present in the site of 9 assassinations, and he has survived all of them, and that is the reason they arrested him. They were like, Mossad. So maybe now Mario opposition in the NDRM, because they were already working for the NDRM, because right now the children that once chased the lion are now guarding the lion's den. So it is not, you cannot say that they doubt them, because Siga ono Anita Amongo bali tebamwesiga tebamutadeko tayebwa nga bombi bafutukeli. We are talking about a situation where the gods that once knocked at the fence are now what we call advisors of the farmer on security. Ate katolumo yakala kuteja abantu naye n'olabanga buli omu alina ekibalo kye. Olaba Betty Kamya yava mu FDC still n'ayingira mu NRM n'asavinga ngani Minister of Kampala, then later as IGG. N'ava namu nga still the chances of of the opposition getting into power under the microscope. Maybe that was her only chance. So when you see the former stray dogs becoming gatekeepers and changing the barking tone, the cubs that were raised among the antelopes are the ones chairing the lioness meeting. So we might see more in the coming years. The hyenas that laughed at the throne are now guarding the throne with serious teeth. Ugandan is called Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, His Excellency, until the regime had to come out to stop it from happening. They used to laugh at us here when we were calling him His Excellency. Until the foot soldiers also came out in full force to make it happen. As we called him His Excellency long enough for the people in the State House to begin checking their locks. They were like, are we the ones still in here? The only problem that we faced is that when we began rehearsing our future, the regime also started rehearsing the arrests. But now Uganda, you can call anything too big. I think you should begin calling me a rich man. Just call me into wealth, because I'm certain that a man first becomes wealthy in greeting before he becomes wealthy in bank statements. So help me and call me a wealthy man. Greet me as a wealthy man, such that you can help alter my destiny. And I have to tell the students, because when the children begin greeting you with respect, even in the pockets, also gain confidence. In the past, homes used to solve problems, or families used to solve problems under mango trees, but these days it seems like Wi-Fi has taken over. You just have to join the TikTok live and invite your father. And whenever family matters come here on the TikTok streets, we the strangers become uncles. In the old days, a child would only ask a father for school fees, but these days they have the courage to ask for paternity tests. When a family meeting comes here on the TikTok, the neighbors also bring popcorn. Atikati babele mu comment section bagamba wayi tekako tutandike. And what is surprising is that the boy could not call the father as a father, and even the son was not, the father was not referring to the son as a son. So the nicknames became the family tree. The father was expecting Tata, but surprisingly he received the Nambemo. And the son, who was also maybe expecting Mutamadi, also received the chicken. The ancestors exited the meeting in Gabagamba. Wanote tubamanye. By the way, jokes aside, in Africa, both parents are respected, but the one that you can swear on without a DNA is your mother. And surprisingly, it is only your mother who knows your father. No matter how willing you are to do the DNA, you will only do a DNA if your mother points you to someone. But if your mother has already showed you your father, why would you ask for a DNA? As a child, you have no audacity to ask for a DNA if your father already accepted you. When the mother points at the father, the child should not bring any issues of the laboratory. Because a child who asks for a DNA after the mother has already introduced her to the father is auditing what we call a wrong witness. In Uganda here or in Africa, if the mother shows you the father, he has already stamped and signed. That is supposed to be the end, unless the father argues. But the child asking for a DNA is like a witness cross-examining the judge. That's why the father, instead of arguing, he referred the son back to the factory. Simu wewe chanze ojizayo mu factory settings. Go to mommy. You know, in the relationship, the man is a driver and the father is, the mother is a conductor. the one who lets in the passengers. So a child as a passenger does not have the audacity to ask the driver for a driving license halfway the journey. Our government could not fix the drainage system, so it invited a rich man to build an arcade over the drainage system and called it development. In the cities, water is supposed to move freely, but the drainage now has a landlord. The drainage, our own Kivumo channel that was once public, now even the rain must ask the landlord for permission to pass. The channel is full. There is nowhere water can pass because this time even on top is covered with mega structures. So the shops of the poor Ugandans are the ones flooding while the rich man is in the building collecting rent. If it were government, the country is in trouble when the drainage channels become prime real estate. And you claim that we are anti-development. And now you can also see that they told the people that the building would control the water. We don't know how. But the water is instead finding the tenant downstairs. Even the water is protesting. It cannot go into the channel. It is now looking for tenants. People are losing property during every season. And we are assuming that we have one season in a year, which is not actually true. There are it is more than one season. Somebody has been here for 40 seasons. But has no solution. The drainage system upgraded to a shopping mall. Therefore, we should not be surprised when our own Kivumo Channel River starts shopping. One of these days, I am going to stop being a good man and start studying bad manners. I am ready for a very long time. I have been watching thieves prosper and I'm becoming uncomfortable. Surprisingly, these people we consider thieves are the ones who live longest. Asidi buba akazo kufa na hega tibafa. Sometimes you go for burial, you reach there and you begin asking yourself, why didn't the other one die in this one's place? Even if you come back in government here, the people who are useless to us, the people whose presence in the government is as good as their absence, are the ones who keep those places longest. People with the independent minds are chased in just a few years. The ones who trouble the communities, who trouble the citizens, the ones who are causing havoc, seem to be eating from the tree of life. And this is the reality. When the good man coughs, the village gets worried. But the moment a bad man coughs, he recovers quickly. And now they are funding Nankanyono, the one who has always on any BSTV. Gwemwala angiranti, sawa yona. Nana kufa paka kati. I'm just saying, there is a way bad people succeed in ways we do not understand. The ones who wish, I mean the people we wish that could have died, they are the ones now buying the strongest mattresses. A man who was really good, a man who was important to the community, who was supporting families, had died. Naye ng'omulogo ye waali. So sometimes the stubborn tree lives the longest just to block the sun. Era tubalaba wanoka mubalagira ati bafunde naye nga tebafa. It looks like the ancestors are not hearing. So the truth is, the day you people discover that the secret to success is being a bad person, we shall lose most of you to the other side. I'm telling you, the crooked path reaches the market faster. So, mwabefu straight. It is time to begin looking for shortcuts. And you don't blame me. Botukayo gwenofa mangu. I'm just saying that the child who sees the lazy goat grow fat question is hard work, and that is the situation I'm in. We are talking about the time that we are in as Ugandans, where a tortoise sees the hyena eating well and begins to practice a wicked smile. Oh, maybe we say that the goat that watches the thief grow rich and begins to practice how to jump fences. Kasitrechi kao wino nako bakatute twebase. In Uganda right now, while the poor sleep, the rich man wakes up to redesign the city. Auntie, if the owner is asleep, the rich man becomes the landlord before sunrise. We are talking about a situation where the lion wants the land. There is no option other than the antelope waking up only to find when the house is missing. In the name of development. And surprisingly, our Kuowino wenyini where they demolished. The police is there right next. Why is over they were part of the buildings that were demolished. But the police did not see the demolition at night. They only saw the drivers in the morning after they had even finished taking tea and eating katogo. Then they arrested them. We are talking about a situation where crime happened in front of the police, but the arrest happened after morning tea. In certain incidences, the arrest is just a ceremony after finished work. When the work is complete, they come and arrest some people or two decide. So, because in the morning everybody was crying, the tenants were crying, the landlord who was the owner of the structure was crying, and to our surprise, the executive director of KCC also arrived, and to our shock, her presence was as good as her absence, because she also just came to witness the damage. Even one of her person was like, for us, we are the ones who issued demolition permits, but we did not issue any demolition permit for this area. So the goats were crying for their shed, while the shepherd was also asking who opened the gate. And these fires always happen at night. You can even, sometimes we ask ourselves, do they have appointment that they come only after midnight? They have respect for working hours. And after the fires have completed, the incoming landlord is always the same person. So apparently the fires respect the working hours. Whenever the land is needed urgently, fire remembers the address. Especially on those buildings or properties, they will take a upande walinti, this land or this property is not for sale. And wetulemera konga tubuuza nti how did this happen? It should not happen. The argument, what we call the argument, becoming too loud. Then at the end of the day, a powerful signature will suddenly restore silence. Sometimes we look at them the way they are sweating with roadblocks, and we are like, are these the people who chased Connie? Oh, Connie was never there. A government that was just rebels, that is now trembling at the singer's footsteps. They can't find him. The army that chased the rebels in the forest for months now, they are sweating while chasing a man with a microphone. Maybe they are not the ones. We are talking about the army that has been in the Central African Republic, South Sudan, the Bagobakoni Wanomu North, then in Somalia, in the Congo, Baitayo. The Bagoba de ADF Wanomu Uganda, Naicha Gulanyi. For months they are still searching for one man, Chagulanyi. They are now coming to put roadblocks in the city looking for the same man. The soldiers that chased men with the guns are now trembling before a man with no weapon. But all we can say is that if the hunter that conquered the forest now fears one goat, the goat must be having a herd behind it. While you people were sleeping, the last truthful mirror just got sold. So don't be surprised when the ugly man begins calling himself handsome. I'm just alerting you, just in case the media house that used to fear nobody begins greeting everybody. And when the change comes, we are talking about a situation where the last stubborn goat gets sold. The butcher there in Nakasero State House must be relaxing while smiling from ear to ear. Investor yachiguza sio no wawa no Tanzania some. Even the credible journalists we know, they have to first study the situation. So do not be surprised when they paid that walked alone. Also begins to first check who owns the table. As Uganda, zikulanga kano kaendi TV kadeire monitor nafeke tubadde twayimirira kera kuzino. But when the last watchdog is sold, even the thieves will begin walking like landlords. Kano ka TV ka newspaper nafeke tubadde tuyimiriddeko nga kweyagala osoma nomanya nti you are finding something genuine. The parrot that used to shout the truth now may have to first study the new cage. And I visit Tanzania. I don't know. Because we are talking about the national media group, the group that reported the corruption in parliament until they got locked out. The mirror that kept showing the truth until the owner of the house decided to remove it from the wall. The lantern was too bright for the dark that they just decided to lock it out of the room. But any TV, then they monitor the Dogerako. They are the people who followed the campaign trail of the president while showing everything as it was until they got suspended from the campaign trail. This is suspicious. It is timing. It's also suspicious. These people, the reporters were writing and showing exactly what they were seeing on the campaign trail until the chief said, this journey is now private. I don't know. Naye tutandika Masabira. So when you see things begin to change, just have it in mind that when a cow changes owners, the milk first becomes shy. What is still disturbing us is that how is it possible that Kyagulanyi is not in charge of who guards him during the presidential elections? So they allocate him the security, then after that they arrest the security. When the wind becomes strong, even the trees that gave shade also start shaking. Because how do we explain this? Jira ikobuya gogulye fete tugulaba bulabi. But in a country of arrests, today's guards can easily become tomorrow's suspects. We don't even know what they are suspected of. Kyagulanyi told us, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi said that none of us is safe, whether you are in government, whether you are in opposition, whether you are highly placed or you are not ordinary body down here. Because when the storm comes, it does not know who built the house. Ejja kusitula ennyumba, esitule n'endaaki n'ennyumba. So the only explanation that we can give right now is that even us, we do not know what to tell you. But what you have to know is that when the hunter arrests the dog, the hunting dog in this case, then the forest must know that something is wrong. Sometimes we also ask ourselves, how did we reach here? But this is the reality today. When you have a corruption complaint, you don't need to go to the courts of law. You go to the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. When you have a land grabbing dispute, no need to go to the courts of law. The solution is in the State House Land Protection Unit. When you have an investor dispute, police togenda you go to the State House Investor Protection Unit. When you have a health services complaint, you also have to run it to the State House Health Monitoring Unit. And this is happening. Why? Because the systems are dead. And so the solution is have to be found or sought from the king himself. When every village quarrel is taken to the king, the elders will soon forget how to judge. I think that even when we come back to the courts of law, the reputation of denying people bail has gone before them. I have more experience in denying people bail than judging cases. The systems have died. When the well in the village dries up, people begin walking into the palace for water. Kangende mu State House eno wewali kutuzi. If the chief must solve every dispute, then the courts of law already closed. We are talking about a situation where every thief must be reported to the king. Ahongokiriza. And the police stations have now become stores. They have to also wait for a call from above. We are talking about a situation where every complaint must climb the hill to the king. And if we go back to the animal kingdom, when every animal runs to the lion to settle disputes, you just have to accept in the jungle court has collapsed. What is funny is that the father of Sivambi, the one who adopted him, had already run into the state house and corrupt and the state house land dispute unit. But also Sivambi sought refuge in state house under the NRM. So both the complainer and the culprit sought refuge under the same umbrella. Ate kati wano twatuukawo tutya, twatuukawo kubanga buli mubbi has been introducing himself or herself as one who is coming from state house. So they are the only ones who can identify who is genuinely from state house. And this happens when the king's name has become so powerful that every thief begins to speak like a Mulangira. In our country right now, we are in a situation where the lion's name has become so famous that even the hyenas have begun introducing themselves as the lion's cousins.